Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday, April 9th. I am Steve Messenger of King Nothing Comics. Thanks for joining me tonight. Hopefully, wherever you are, you're bundled up a little bit, you're warm, you're cozy. I just came in from Washington, D.C., and I was astounded what a temperature difference there was just from about a 5 hour drive. It went from being really warm. It was in the 80s, high 70s, 80s to snow back in Ohio. So a little bit of a change, but it was nothing that I wasn't used to already. I just the whiplash effect of going through the different climates was fantastic. But I'm glad to be back in Ohio. I'm glad to have a little bit of a break from travel. I've got about 3 weeks off of travel per se. I don't have much time off, to say the least. Oh no, we got an update. I was just going to get into the Chicago stuff. Um, our dear friend Ben, if you've ever bought a laser engraved flask with any sort of witty remark on it, it's probably Ben's. But he says he's stuck in Chicago traffic. 10 out of 10, don't recommend. Negative 10 out of 10, don't recommend. I wish I could be out there with you, buddy. At the same time, I have I think my body was ready to just shut down because Monday I I had to run one errand because FedEx is out to ruin me. They cannot find my street. It is a real street. Some GPSs have a problem with it. I use the term real street very loosely, but they anytime they get a new driver, instead of GPSing or looking or what have you, they just hit the next day feature on their handheld, put some sort of reason as to why it was next day, and then it's now my problem to figure it out. So Monday, I of course it was a bunch of product that I wanted to have to take to DC. FedEx dropped the ball. So Monday I had to go pick it up because it was approaching the deadline of them not holding it for me anymore, and then they return it to the sender. I couldn't have that. Couldn't have that. So Monday I went out, and then I think I slept most of Monday. Tuesday I started working on some pages again for Dark Side, Chapter 2, Issue 2, and ended up crashing pretty hard again. And even today, I think I got one page done out of Dark Side and was out again. So I think tomorrow, though, I think I'm going to be on the ball. I think I'm going to be moving full speed. We'll see how it goes. Not moving full speed, though, looks like is our dear friend James, Sketching the Beast. Not feeling well tonight. Sorry to hear that, man. Hope you get some rest. Hopefully, you didn't catch that con crud out there. I can't remember. Was it, what's it, Pittsburgh? Was it the Steel City you were out at? They do. I'll tell you what, man, that was one of the biggest things early on was realizing that some GPSs just refused to find my street. So like ordering a pizza became like a negotiation, like a hostage negotiation thing. Like they had the pizza and I had to give them instructions on how to. It was a whole thing. But the good news is most places I do business with can find me now. But I believe FedEx gives you the like the name of the driver that's coming. I don't know if it's actually the actual driver, but anytime that Montel is given my delivery, Montel cannot find me to save my life. Yeah. So yep, out at Steel City and Collectors Con. I heard mixed reviews on Collectors Cons, but Steel City also some interesting reviews on that one. But got the bug from the kid. Kids are good for that. Kids are good for that. Well, folks, I got a lot to cover tonight. We're going to cover quite a few topics, but Ben, as you were wandering out to the great land of Chicago, I am going to help you dispel rumors. And you can say you heard it straight from Steve. And then someone will say, well, Steve is sometimes full of it. And you'll say, yes, but he looked at the internet. Um, I did some deep digging. And when I say deep digging, I'll say it's a light Google search. All of us vendors have run into it at some point, and you, either as a convention goer or even just an attendee at a major festival, event, that sort of thing, you've gone to get out your cell phone, you've gone to search for something, maybe send a message, and it seems as though you can't get a signal. And this is when you turn to your friend and you say, "Do you have a signal?" And they say, "No." And you say, "What provider do you have?" And it doesn't matter because it seems as though everyone you speak to, no matter what provider they're using, you all have the same problem. Nobody can seem to connect and get a signal. Can't send a text message, can't make a phone call, can't even connect to the internet. Now, your cell phone might say that it is receiving a signal, but try as you might, nothing's going through. So, the conspiracies take over where information falls short, and the congoing conspiracy is that some of these convention centers. I'm sorry for the puns. Um, some of these convention centers have employed signal jammers. Have you guys heard about this? James certainly has. They got those signal blockers. Um, so here's the deal. A light casual Google search turns up this is that the use of signal jammers, of a phone jammer, a GPS blocker, or other signal jamming device designed to intentionally block, jam, or interfere with authorized radio communications is a violation of federal law. And if you look into it, it does cover things like cell phones, Wi-Fi, that sort of thing. The reason being is that if you need to make an emergency phone call or something like that and they're blocking the signal, that's a big problem. What's up, Dave? Um, see, this is and everyone when we go do Motor City here in a couple weeks, everybody at Motor City is gonna be like, as soon as they start the show, as soon as the convention starts, that's when we lose it. Um, is there is there a workaround? The letter of the law says anything that is designed to intentionally block. Um, I don't know if that unintentionally blocking a signal is illegal. I don't know, but yeah, allegedly it's illegal for them to use it. Dave, my man, I just gave my rundown as my last 2 days being mostly uh mostly dead. I got your order in the mail today, man. I got a special bonus print in there for you. I appreciate your support, dude. So that should be there 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, something like that. You should have a tracking come through. But the Wi-Fi, that's the next conversation. Some of these places are charging like $60 for the weekend. Other places are charging like $100 a day for Wi-Fi. Some places you pay for the Wi-Fi and the signal sucks because everybody's on it and everybody's I don't know. What's the best analogy here? Let's say you got a 5-gallon bucket full of internet. And every time someone wants to use the internet, you drill a hole in the bucket to get your little bit of Wi-Fi out. And you drill 1,000 holes in that bucket. Sooner or later, there's no water pressure. That's your analogy of the day. So the $233. See, MegaCon is that 3 days or I think MegaCon's 4 days, right? Either way, a couple $100 to have the internet to pretty much make sure that we can make our sales go through and our transactions go through. Um, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to add on. But Dave, dude, thank you, man. I really appreciate the support, dude. It was really cool seeing that order come through. So I got that out today for you. Like I said, should be in a few days. James is chiming in now. The only thing I'll say is possible the towers are having issues with yes, high traffic. Yes, I think the more people now than ever that are trying to live stream, do live sales, just use their phones in general. I think that is what's causing the issue. I was shocked I was able to use a Wi-Fi at Steel City, and it was not bad. Could even watch Netflix on it. There you go. Got the kiddo on the Netflix watching some Breaking Bad. Um, yeah. So Richmond, I was at Richmond. Richmond was another 4-day show, and the Thursday show at Richmond, I lost internet like instantly. Friday, I had a better connection, but I lost out on a sale. Now, I've had very good luck with just doing offline transactions to the point where, like, anytime someone tries to contest me, like, "Oh, what happens if it doesn't go through?" I'm like, please, please. I've lost out on like $40 in the last 4 years, and I do hundreds of offline transactions. I was not worried about it one bit. And then I sold a skateboard, and I was confident. This cool guy. He'd come by a couple times, trusted him. He wasn't the issue. It turned out that he swiped a card. He actually got a receipt, all that good stuff. Something happened between the offline transaction, his bank, and me that, yeah, I lost out on a significant sale on that skateboard. And I started thinking about it. I was like, well, if this happens one more time, the cost of a Wi-Fi hotspot is justified. So, in talking with a fellow um, con artist, if you will, I'm going to show you what I ended up getting here. It is sketchy. It is it is a Chinese device. That's very simple. I'm going to share the screen here again. Let's see, share screen. Here we go. Product called G Local Me. I think I got like the $125 option. Maybe it was $170, something like this. And for like $60, I have 30 gigs of data for 30 days. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. I was talking to him. He's been using his for a while. He said everywhere that people complain about not having a signal, he said this thing works like a charm. It's significantly cheaper, and hasn't had a problem since. So all the places that everyone cries, I shouldn't say cries, that everyone has the issue of no internet, G Local Me. Local Me? Something like that. So I picked one up. I think it literally searches for any signal, period, that it can leech onto. And that's how it connects. So not entirely sure how weaselly it is. Worked great for me at wherever I was. So where was I last weekend? Awesome Con, DC. Some of these convention centers do have free high-speed Wi-Fi, but I think they had that problem at Richmond last year where they had the guest Wi-Fi that everybody was using, and it bogged it down. And I have heard that some don't always work. I'm going to give this one a shot at Motor City. If it works there, I'm pretty sure this thing will work anywhere. This was a bearded artist had told me about this, and he says it's been working fantastically. So for everybody, we can at least say, if we're ever at the convention scene and people are like, they must be using signal jammers, we can at least chime in now with the fact that if they are, and it is a federal offense, and if they're alleging that they're committing a felony, then I think we have every right to get out the pitchforks, torches, go hunt down whoever's running this thing, shut the mother down. But we're going to go over a number of things tonight. There's a lot of stuff in the news. I'm going to do a quick recap on Awesome Con, though, because I did have a good time there. Now, granted, there's always there's like the yin and yang thing, right? Whenever there's good, there's a little bit of bad. Whenever there's bad, there's a little bit of good. I think I'm not going to argue that with anybody. Oh God, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this. Is this what I want to share? Yeah, there we go. So we got all set up, no problem. Had a little bit of a wait to get in. If you've ever been to the was it the Walter E. Washington Convention Center? Nice building. It's all underground. Um, there was a bit of a line to get in, and my only word of advice is really for any convention, but this one in particular, is that if you're going to load in, if you've got like 25 minutes out on your GPS, stop and use a restroom. Get yourself some water, a snack. I think I ended up waiting over an hour in the line to get in. But luckily, once you get in the loading dock, they bring you a couple pallets, and they bring your pallets right to where your booth is, and you can set up no problem. Ben chimes in, Cleveland, if you're near the front of the vendor hall, there's free Wi-Fi that doesn't have issues, but it's out in the hallways, so doesn't cover most of the vendor floor. They know what they're doing there. They know what they're doing. Sneaky. Yes, and please hit that thumbs up button. Thanks, James. Yes. So we got all set up. Everything's good to go. Did a couple of modifications. I learned at Richmond, I tried cheating by having this pole outside the table. And as soon as that pole, this upright gets outside of the table and not through this little hole that I cut, people try to swing on it when they walk by and shakes everything. It's a bit scary. It's a bit much. So I drilled a new hole for this table to fit this corner. We got that all taken care of. Next thing is I gotta cover up this little bit of pole down at the bottom because any amount of pole apparently screams like lean on me. So once I get that all buttoned up, we'll be good to go on this thing. So a couple minor revisions, but I'm liking how the lights are set up. I want to run a couple more lights here and there simply because I'm paying for electricity now, so might as well use it. But digging how it's working so far. But we here's the interesting thing about AwesomeCon. Never mind my ugly mug in this photo. These aisles everywhere are huge. I think my only criticism is that like even Artist Alley was like 3 super wide aisles where it was section of Artist Alley, section 2 of Artist Alley, section 3. So if you're just casually walking up and down, it is kind of a long hike to get down there. Chris, we all know what you used to do in a former occupation. You guys got to cover the pole and prints. Yeah, I was actually thinking about putting a couple of the smaller canvas prints there. You guys, I'm gonna let you guys have that conversation in the chat while I yammer on about everything. Where were you at South Carolina, Chris, this past weekend? Let me know how that one went. The fun part was at Richmond, there were so many people who were like, "Are you gonna be at South Carolina next weekend?" And I said, "No, I'm going to AwesomeCon." And every single person in their face was like, "Oh, you're going to AwesomeCon? Oh, good luck, man." You would have thought that AwesomeCon was borderline, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Just apocalyptic. But it ended up being a pretty solid show. I got these 4 guys knocked out leading up to it. Did some hand-drawn sketches. My plan was to make some canvases out of these. But alas, FedEx, like we started off the show tonight, the canvas did not show up in time, could not make prints. And I had quite the quandary. I was trying to sell these as a set because as soon as I sell one, it breaks up the set and then it makes it harder to sell them. I was getting offers on Mikey. I was getting offers on Raph. I upset a couple guys because they really just wanted the 1 turtle. And at the end of the show, I had 4 turtles. So not sure what I learned here. But looks like South Carolina was a record year there for you. Excellent. Good to hear. Good to hear. It's good to hear people getting wins because I know a lot of people I'm talking to, they're like, the economy, this and this, that, the other, and that's a thing. Um, 2 days, no stress, 11 to 6. Dude, some of these shows, man. You used to hear me complain that the tattoo shows were long days. I think Galaxy cons are turning into 11-hour days now. That sounds like that would have been really nice. Um, so yeah, but because they had the not voice actors, they had the four guys in suits from the original movie. Um, a bunch of people were buying canvases to go get them signed. Um, there was even Kevin Eastman was there. This was really cool. I couldn't tell you this guy's name to save my life right now, but he ended up picking up one of my covers to go get Kevin Eastman to sign. So that was super cool. This was really cool. Um, people getting skateboards signed by Kevin. That was sweet. And this was also one of the cooler moments of the weekend as far as uh, people really making this show worth it, man. This dude ended up picking up my original of the Power Rangers, so that was super cool. Let's catch up with the chat here real quick. Dude, 10 to 10, man. That's a long day because you probably got to get there an hour early to set up. Yeah, that's like the tattoo shows, 11 to 11. Steve, did you see that link I sent on Instagram about the Turtles cast coming to Rosemont in May? I think I was booked up that weekend. I think unless you just sent it today, I saw a message you sent previously. Whatever the last thing was, I was not able to make that one. So yeah, there's the nice thing about the tattoo shows is they don't care if you leave early. So if you don't feel like staying till 11, you can duck out. But some of these cons, they're like, if you leave your table for any amount of time, they're like, "Where'd you go? You're ruining our VIP experience." But yeah, I was like, this is a really good Wookiee costume. I know that Adam Savage has done this convention several times, and I'm like, he had this Chewbacca in particular had the speaker, so he's walking around doing. I can't do a good Wookiee sound. But he's making the Chewbacca noises really loud, and people are coming over, and all kinds of cool photos right in front of my booth. So that was super cool. He's like, I'm holding my phone up above my head to get this shot. He is probably close to 8 feet tall in this photo. May 9th. I forget what I've got that weekend, but I am unfortunately booked that weekend. I'll tell you what, though, anytime that I can be at a show where they've got anyone from Turtles there, it's money. Between the cartoon voice actors, and the movies, all that good stuff. But I appreciate you keeping a heads up for me, man. This year in particular is pretty well booked. And it's weird because like I'm so used to having like a rolling 12-month schedule. Just because so many of these conventions are like, you have to sign up now for next year if you want to stay in the show. Well, there's a bunch of shows that either A, haven't posted dates for next year yet, or B, are posting dates on weekends that other shows are already going on. So I've got some holes in the schedule already for next year. So I got to get that figured out sooner than later. Oh man, is that the Francois Chow? I think it is. That's too bad I can't make that one. That would be really good. This was like one of the best Doom guys I've seen. He ended up picking up one of my prints here, so that was super cool. He ended up, I think he bought this sword at the show. The new, I don't know what they call that sword, but that was super cool. This was like, this guy did all the things. He got all of the guys in suits to sign, plus Eastman. And speaking of Eastman, I did meet him earlier in the day. I went and got some stuff signed by him, but he happened to be casually strolling through, and um, he saw. I was lamenting at this point. This is Sunday, late in the day. I was lamenting that I hadn't sold the originals of those turtles yet, and he and Courtney Eastman happened to be walking by, and they stopped and they saw the originals, and they ended up coming over and talking to me, and had a great conversation with him. At no point did he offer me a job or big bags of money. Maybe next time. But he did say, "Hey, you want to get a picture?" And he's like, "Hey, it was great meeting you." And I'm like, "Great meeting me. Great meeting you. Thanks for coming to my booth. That was great. It was great. Made my day. Thanks for telling me great things, Mr. Eastman." So that was exciting. Got to meet him. We took a few pictures, all that good stuff. So all in all, many successes. But this is about where the successes ended for me in DC. From there, we went on to the trials and tribulations of loading out. There's not a great way out, period. They have like one elevator. If you're going to hand cart out, and even then, good luck, because there's not really a conjoined parking garage. There was a parking area across the street I could hand cart over to, and just about lost my entire cartload in the mud because it started raining. So I think, speaking of bearded artists, Mr. Kevin, I think he had the best strategy, which was literally start tearing down so you can be done tearing down by the end of the show, and then run like hell over to get a gate pass, and then run like hell to your car to get in there. And tell them you don't want pallets. Just tell them they've got those little electric carts, like the flatbed trucks. Just tell them you want one of those. Put all your stuff on there. Get out. He probably beat me by a solid hour to hour and a half getting out of there. So, which is really great when he he rolled by laughing at me. And I was still setting up like my second cart of stuff. So, after Dave's comment about Shredder and then Ben chiming in about April looking dead, I thought you were talking about the actress for a second. So yeah, loading out of that place was kind of rough. Now here's the thing: everyone kept going on about how Awesome Con has been kind of rough lately, this, that, the other. Let me assure you, it is not the cheapest show to do. Here's the situation. This booth, I ended up getting pretty solid foot traffic coming through here. To be in that aisle, the main aisle, you had to pay an extra, I think it's like $200 for the premium booth. Otherwise, as soon as you get off this path, this is like the main path that takes you all the way down to the celebrities. So if you're not on that path, you're probably going to get lost in the shuffle. I ended up having a pretty good show. So yeah, I did a premium vendor. I think this spot cost me like $1,700, and then throwing electricity, it was like $1,800. Add on to that hotel. I made a mistake with the hotel. So I stayed at a La Quinta Inn. La Quinta? That was maybe 10 minutes out before. I thought I had picked that one. It's not the nicest hotel, at least not when I stayed there, but it's a straight shot down. And on the way in, if you want breakfast, because you don't want the hotel breakfast, there's a McDonald's that you can pull right in, get yourself a bagel, get right out. No, I didn't stay at that La Quinta. I stayed another 15 minutes out if there's no traffic. That one, I did. There were some other restaurants I wanted to check out. I ended up just eating not China Buffet, Panda Place, Easy Panda, Panda Express. Easy Panda is a different kind of establishment. I had some Panda Express every night, and it was amazing. There's not a convenient Panda Express around me. It is one of my uh, Secret Life indulgences to chow down on. It doesn't matter. Whatever they have, I will eat. It's not the teriyaki chicken. It's boring. It's when you compare that to like the sugary orange chicken, forget it. The best though is the honey sesame chicken. It was phenomenal. Have that with some chow mein, some steak. We're good to go. But yeah, all in all, we did make money at this show. It was definitely better than Artist Alley had done there a few years ago. Um, I, I'm gonna save the economy talk for later because I think this show with a good economy where people are confident in buying stuff, I think this show's a banger. Um, I think this show, if you're selling original art, there are people with deep pockets, mostly our taxpayer money. There are people with deep pockets running around DC that collect original art. And I was confident I was going to be able to sell those four turtles as a bundle. I think in a year where, I don't know, we don't have random, like, are there going to be taros? Is there going to be this? Is there that? If we didn't have all that going on, I think I would have cleaned house. I think it would have been great. I sold, I think, one or two more original art pieces this weekend. And like I said, under better circumstances, I think this would have been a banger. Still made really good money. The cost was a bit offsetting. But I think if you're going to do it, I think the premium spot is worth the extra couple $100. I'm not going to talk about some situations other people were put in next to noisy neighbors, playing loud DJ music all weekend. That apparently had it cleared by the show. We're not going to get into all that, but all in all, Awesome Con was good. Here's the problem, though. DC was built for horses and buggies, not for a million cars. So my hotel was another. So if the one I stayed at last time was like 10 minutes out, this one was 15 minutes past that. Loadout night. Of course, my mistake for trying to leave DC during rush hour. There was no rushing involved. It took me almost an hour to go 20 to 25 minutes. It was painful. It was awful. It was terrible. The impressive thing is how much money people put in their cars in DC just to slam them into each other. Most cars at a low end scale are going to be BMWs, Mercedes, Audis. High end scale, you've got tricked out Corvettes. I saw, I believe, at least one Lamborghini. You've got, $150,000 SUVs. And I should say every single, that's being hyperbolic, I believe. Just about every vehicle I saw had some kind of damage on it. Some very significant on very expensive cars. And from talking to some people, yes, built for horse and buggies, but then again, it's the most international city that we have. There are people that are coming in representing countries from all over the world that might be there for months, might be there for an afternoon. And in that short amount of time that they're staying here, they're going to drive like they drive overseas. So if there's a car stopped randomly in the lane at a red light, they will drive into oncoming traffic. And they don't care if there's a traffic light camera because they're not going to be around to get a ticket. They're just going to go. And then there's some people that have so much money, they don't care if they just flat out run red lights because they've got money. They'll just pay the bill. So if you're going to drive in DC, be careful. Be super careful. So the dates for next year, that is the question. Now, Ben, I think you would do extraordinarily well in DC because, as we know, there's lots of drinking that goes on with our politicians. They do need flasks. And I believe it is the same weekend as Cleveland Fan Expo next year. So March, what is that, 13th to 15th? Weekend before MegaCon. Everybody is just shuffling the deck, and they're all going for March, and it's a big problem. It's a big problem. Because I believe next year, I think a C2E2 is the weekend after MegaCon. So is Lexington. So it's like, I'm doing Lexington. I'm going to the Pasta Garage. Pasta Garage is my home, is my people. I love it. And I'll probably see about just like, I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I was just going to say, because MegaCon's like a 4-day show, and it's going to clean out my inventory. I don't know if I'm going to be able to just stock extra stuff to go to Lexington. I feel like I need to go home, but I won't have time to go home because Lexington is also a 4-day show. Can't turn down Cleveland. I did almost as much in Cleveland as I did in dude, I'm telling you, Cleveland was actually a really good show this year. C2E2 has been a hit or miss the last few years in April. Yeah, and they're moving to March too, right? Yeah, because it's the weekend after Mega, if I remember correctly. Dude, I'm telling you, if y'all are ever, everyone that I've taken to Pasta Garage, I tell them it's going to be some of the best Italian you're going to eat. I have not disappointed anybody yet that I'm aware of. If not, it's still solid Italian, and it's a good time. You go in, just go get your spot, sit down, have a couple beers. And if I can get South Carolina Comic-Con to actually respond to me, I would love to be there. That'd be great. Yeah. Let me know, because I was talking to somebody that allegedly knows one of the showrunners for C2E2, one of the top dogs. I think it's Mike something. That said that's going to be the dates for next year. So there's going to be a lot of people that are, I think it's the same weekend as WonderCon too, which I'm not going out to the West Coast, but it's like there's a lot of people that are going to be packing their bags from MegaCon and going straight to Chicago. And hope to God you have enough inventory, because good luck. Last thing I'll say about my people is let me just show this one more time. Share the screen. I felt really bad. Not too bad, kind of bad. I felt a little bad that these kind folks here who will remain nameless have been backing me on Slaughter Dolls for quite a while. Real top supporters. And as I'm talking to them and we're just talking shop about books coming up and everything else, that's when Kevin Eastman came around the corner. I'm like, can you guys hang tight real quick? The boss just walked up. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, that guy invented the turtles. They're like, oh, take your time. Super nice. So thank you, Garrett, for swinging by the booth, hanging out. Super cool seeing you there, man. Thanks for being patient with me while I met a childhood hero. And reason I'm into art, really, because I love the way they drew the turtles back in the day. Yeah. If you see anything too, Dave, whenever you guys get some info, but definitely hook up with Ben. Ben's gonna be selling flasks. He has some bonus stuff too. If you like gag gifts, no pun intended. Want to see Ben? Here's the deal with, if you're an artist going to C2E2, and everyone else, feel free to chime in. C2E2 has one of the most heavily curated artist alleys I've ever seen. The last time I did it, I think they had set a record for how many artists that they were representing there. And I think it was around 200 an artist alley, which actually isn't crazy. But for maybe it's more than 200. Maybe I'm losing my mind. I am losing my mind. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it's a lot more than 200. At any rate, the application process, they ask you, they want to know first and foremost, like, what you've been published in. Have you worked for Marvel, DC, Image, other books, that sort of thing. They want the best of the best. And when you walk through that artist alley, Like every time I walk through it, I'm like, I need to practice more. Because like it is it is a humbling alley. There are artists there that will fly in from overseas. Um, yeah, the the least talented individual there is more talented than most artist alleys you've walked through. It is impressive. Um, but um, if you were to do like the 3D printing thing with your gal there, that might be an option. Yes, sir. You got the reference. Artist Alley was way too crowded last year. They had it clustered. Um, I think that's one of the things that more conventions need to take a harder to look at is how they're spacing out their tables. Some artist alleys, the artists themselves are sardines, and then they'll put like 6 or 7 tables in a row with no spaces for people to get out in case you need to, I don't know, use a restroom. So you're doing like the movie theater thing. Excuse me, that kind of went down the wrong pipe. You're trying to do the movie theater thing to like scoot past people to get out and then get back to your table. And then on top of that, there's been a few alleys that I've walked through where the aisles themselves are just as crunched together. And if you want to casually walk through Artist Alley, as soon as you look down there and you see the mosh pit, you're like, maybe we'll stick to the guys on the outsides. So, dude, that picture you sent me of Steel City looks like the Grand Rapids spring fling that I did a couple years ago. I don't know if it's still like that or not, but I think some of these conventions could benefit from spreading out a little bit more. But I know space is at a premium and fire code stuff, what have you. So, all that to say, the thing that is saving my butt at shows this year is bigger ticket items, like mid-tier to bigger ticket. Raising my average revenue per customer even more than normal has definitely been saving me. So, guys, think about that too. Having some bigger tier items for your customers. I want to do an update. We haven't done an update on this since, I don't know, last week when we did an update. So it's time for an update. Bad news. If you were wanting to see the update or the actual video of the Stan Lee final chapter, it unfortunately, folks, has been canceled. Raised $85,000 out of the $300,000 goal. And I think a lot of it has to do with what's his name? Charlie, the Penguins Zero or whatever it is, YouTube channel. That dude caught wind of the Stan Lee story and absolutely slammed it. He had like a 12-minute video pretty much accusing the guy of taking advantage of Stan Lee's demise. And he could be right. I don't know. I have not seen the video. I don't know the exact situation. But he ran it for, I believe, 30 days. There was a lot of people that were involved in doing, what you call it, like the unique covers to the books, the exclusives and all that good stuff, including our friends at Clan McDonald Comics. A lot of people had weighed in after that video come out trying to chime in and say that John Bolerjack is actually a good dude and that Stan went through a lot of hell. The likes of Rob Liefeld, Waffled, Todd McFarlane, a lot of folks chimed in. And unfortunately, the last update that came up from Jonathan says, we wanted to share an update in regards to our film, Stan Lee, the final chapter. The project has received an overwhelming amount of press, social media, and global attention. And due to some recent developments, we are ending the Kickstarter today and we'll be moving forward with the film's production through generous outside support. We'll be going back into production in the coming weeks, and our plan is to wrap this up as soon as possible. We'll be posting periodic updates via social media as we progress. That said, We want to thank everyone who has pledged and shared our campaign. Your efforts are truly appreciated and meant so much to us. We'd also like to thank global comic community, including Rob, Roy Thomas, Clayton and April Crane. Bunch of names, whole lot of names, big names, including some folks that I am friends with, like Ryan Kincaid. A lot of folks that kind of help push this thing forward as much as possible. Is very well possible. We have speculated that maybe just putting this out there and getting any amount of traction would be enough to get the likes of like a Netflix or something like that to try to pick them up and help out with production. I If I had deep pockets in a major production company, I think that's what I would do too. Is say, hey, you've already got the meat and potatoes. All we got to do is dress it up. There you go. So yeah, that's your update for Stan Lee. What do y'all think? Is this coming to Netflix? Any speculation? I think if I had to guess, we're talking Netflix deal. Ben chimes in. The Smoky Mountain has a very cramped artist alley. Anytime you got those little side rooms for the artist, it's almost guaranteed to be a can o' sardines situation. So there's your Stan Lee update. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it because I really don't know what all happened. Strange stuff, unfortunate stuff. But I've got some better news. You guys want better news? Better news? Get a quick sip here. Here's what I wanted to bring up that I forgot to bring up. We'll do a quick little just go to me here. Just go to me here while I talk. One of the interesting things about AwesomeCon is that I don't know if you guys know this, but Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States. That being said, that allows room for potential shenanigans that would be bad for people. So sometimes you got to upgrade security. That way, bad things are less likely to happen. That's fine. That's great. If you were to elect a dog to be your law enforcement dog and to sniff out crime, as it were, potential crime in the form of a bag full of crime, what kind of dog would you want? Mind you, during load-in, you could literally bring in pallets of whatever you want, no dog involved. But once you go through the main door for the artists and the vendors, there is a dog involved. What kind of pooch would you want? I maintain that some of the best dogs that I've seen for fighting crime have been the German Shepherd. Set a pretty strong precedent. The drug pug. I don't think they were as worried about drugs as they were. What's the word? What's the word I could say where YouTube doesn't instantly flag me? Military style devices of multiple kinds. The drug pug would be hilarious, though. There's a little wiggle in his little butt. So I'm going to say you're trying to do unsavory things, and it has to be a pug. I did not try to do anything unsavory. I only do savory things, as it turns out. I like that you tried to sully my name, as it were. But no, I only do savory things. I think that if I was going to employ a dog to curtail crime from happening, it would have to be a fierce dog, perhaps a German Shepherd. And I think the problem these days is that the optics of the German Shepherd has gotten a little kind of, I don't know, the German part and like the a World War II part. You know, maybe they're better off kicking down doors overseas for freedom than they are smelling kids' crotches at AwesomeCon. Instead of the drug pug and instead of the military canine German Shepherd, they had what I believe to be a golden lab. It's friendly. Looked rather tired the whole time that I saw him. I would be tired too if I had to sniff stuff all day. Not the most imposing thing, and the guy that was handling said dog also didn't seem super excited about the whole thing. So mind you, you can drive a vehicle in with pallet loads of whatever, no problem. You can go park your car, you go to get in the building, and there's a line to get in because everyone's pushing in their carts, their hand carts to load in, and they've got your different Tupperwares and whatnot. And the dog has to smell all this stuff to make sure that your kids dressed as random anime characters aren't bringing in tactical nuclear warheads. I get it. Crime can take many faces, many forms. This is where I lost Dave. Dave, thanks for hanging out again, dude. We'll catch you later. So yeah, the dog was taking his time, sniffing everything. Luckily, kept all the crime at bay. There's a story in the news, though. You guys might have seen this. How much more likely would you be to volunteer to be that law enforcement person that has to handle this dog? How much more likely would you be to join the armed forces, police forces, if you knew that instead of a drug pug, instead of a golden lab, instead of albeit a fierce animal, the German Shepherd? We'll see you next week, Dave. Thanks for hanging out, dude. What if I told you you could have a dire wolf?
That remarkable scientific breakthrough. 13,000 years after the last dire wolf walked the earth, scientists say they've now brought them back. Here's our chief national correspondent back up and with the video tonight.
Imagine that going through your luggage. These little terrors. I thought that these were ferrets at first. I was wrong. I could have been more wrong. Drug ferrets, not imposing. If you were a criminal looking to cause mass casualties and you saw ferrets coming, you wouldn't stop. You wouldn't think twice. In fact, you'd probably be more motivated to carry out your crime. Dire wolves? Dire wolves?
A howl 13,000 years in the making. In a first for science, biotech company Colossal Biosciences says it brought the extinct dire wolf back to life, a species that hasn't walked the earth since the Stone Age.
The dire wolf is the first de-extinct species.
Well known from HBO's hit show Game of Thrones, ABC News given exclusive access into Colossal's lab in Dallas, where scientists are using genes from gray wolves to create dire wolves.
This is insane. And I'm just now finding out that none other than George R.R. Martin owns the first one. Did not know that you could buy your way into owning an extinct animal. This is sort of preposterous. Did not know that he owns part of the company. But yeah, dire wolves. Dire.
We've taken a gray wolf genome, a gray wolf cell, which is already genetically 99.5% identical to dire wolves, and we've edited those cells at multiple places in its DNA sequence to contain the dire wolf version of the DNA. That animal looks like a dire wolf, it will behave like a dire wolf, and it is a dire wolf.
Now, 7 months old, dire wolves Romulus and Remus eating well and getting bigger every day.
I think whoever coined the phrase, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it must be a duck, could not have potentially seen dire wolves being on the table as far as If it walks like a dire, it doesn't sound as good. It walks as a dire wolf, howls like a dire wolf. Yes, I think, Ben, I think you're hitting this on the head. Did we ask ourselves if we could or if we should? Science, life finds a way, right? These dire wolves, what are we doing with them other than making them really cool pets to have?
And David, the company tells us they're not stopping there. They plan to have woolly mammoths roaming the earth again by 2028. But critics argue that this de-extinction could harm fragile ecosystems.
I was worried about the golden lab sniffing out my snacks. Okay, that was the contraband that I was coming in with. Then I lobbied that perhaps the coolest dog that you could have would one that was extinct for 13,000 years be your companion. That would be amazing. Woolly mammoth guard dog. I'm not sure that I need a woolly mammoth at the door of the convention center. Now, Superior knows. The nose is extensive, literally and physically. Metaphysically? Metaphorically. All of the above. The nose, the snoot is immense. I don't know how good it is at sniffing anything, but it could weasel its way in there. You know, it could figure out what's going on. I don't know how. You say that the gray wolf is 99.5% dire wolf, right? You just got to kind of click a couple little things, manipulate a couple things, and you have a dire wolf again. Okay. That sounds like you could potentially, like you could breed to have a pug one day. You could potentially breed to have a dire wolf one day, maybe. I don't know how that works. What has 99.5% woolly mammoth DNA? I would venture to guess an elephant, but the whole gene editing thing is buck wild. Buck wild. I can't help but think that, Ben, you're on the right track, buddy. But I've seen how this plays out. I've watched the Flintstones. I see what happens when they go to the drive-in and they order a rack of ribs and it flips over their car. Imagine calling Geico. You call the gecko up and he said, I'd like to report a damage claim. My car has been totaled by a rack of woolly mammoth ribs. It sounds preposterous. It sounds like a case of insurance fraud waiting to happen. And there was no fraud. There was just a delicious stack of Old Hickory mammoth ribs. But I do see that as a very tasty way to take care of some of the hunger issues we have. I don't know. Chris chimes in. We all know this culminates in a resurrection of the passenger pigeon. I'm eating them wings. Chris, you couldn't be more correct. And it's a scary notion. Let's think about this. You got one lab run by a senile old man that can't finish writing his books, apparently. I don't know the situation. I don't know George R.R. I've never read his books. I haven't watched his shows. I don't know much about him. All I know is right now he has a 13,000-year-old extinct animal apparently roaming around his living room, I guess. And they have one lab. Not to be confused with the drug dog. They have a laboratory where they're taking these genes and they're smashing them around. They're turning them on. They're turning them off. And the next thing you know, extinct animals are just popping out of nowhere. What's to say? Nate, first, let me remind you that the passenger pigeon was at one point believed to be the most populous bird on the earth. Some say the low count was around 2 billion birds. Some say it was more like 4 billion. Some say it was upwards of 8 billion birds. More pigeons flocking around than people. Imagine you get one of these scientists. He's so tired. He's been working on these genomes all week. He's tired. He forgot his coffee. He's like, you know what? I can get through today. I'll just get a monster on my lunch break. And whoops, cross the passenger bridge genome with, I don't know, the direwolf genome. And now there's 4 billion direwolves flying around. 4 billion of them. Yipping, yapping, nipping, biting, swooping in, crashing trees, sniffing for bombs. I don't know that I can handle this kind of pressure. I think that the science behind all this, number one, it seems a little fishy. That suddenly, now that we have AI video, that we can make white wolves. And just say it was gene editing that did it. Are you sure you didn't type a few buttons into Grok? I don't know. It all seems fishy, and at the same time, it's terrifying because you know they're going to want to bring the passenger pigeon back. We felt guilty about it. We passed a lot of legislation based on said pigeon. If suddenly we could just bring them back, then why do we have legislation to begin with? We might as well just make more animals of whatever we want. What's next? The dodo bird? Who wants a dodo bird? I don't. I've never seen one. I've never tasted one. If you told me it tastes good, I would be hard-pressed to believe you. I've had chicken. Chicken's bland until you add some barbecue, some seasoning, that sort of thing. I don't know. Seems like a lot. Ben, they have been talking about bringing them back for a couple decades, at least for mammoths. Now, I know with mammoths, they have found like frozen woolly mammoths in ice that still had like chunks intact. Did they have direwolf DNA? Like, is that a thing? Like, did they have a partially frozen direwolf that they were able to poke around in? I don't know. At any rate, I feel like we're messing with I think we're messing with some God science here. When Russia sells mammoth steaks every so often. And sir, how would you like your mammoth steak? Oh, I'd like it well done with ketchup, please. That'd be amazing. Make sure there's no, I don't know, 20,000-year-old parasite worms in there. Yeah, I mean, at this point, if we're already talking about woolly mammoths, if we're already talking about passenger pigeons, I think the next logical jump is dinosaurs. As some people call it, dinosaurs. That's a great question. Should Blue bring back the prehistoric? I don't know who Blue is. Is Blue going to bring back the prehistoric man too? I don't know. I feel prehistoric sometimes. Now we don't need the apes getting out of line. Okay, James, you're jumping to conclusions as to what we can do with this technology. We do not need the apes getting any smarter. Unless they find out we've been keeping them in captivity and they form some military alliance to take us out. Can't be having it. So guys, this is just a very interesting. I didn't know all this was going on. Didn't know it was all going on. Yeah, it ends with us crashing on a planet and Statue of Liberty's been knocked over. And at that point, Statue of Liberty could be back in France. It's a very confusing timeline. So the direwolf thing, I think it's interesting. I think at this point, I guess that Pandora box is open. So is what it is. I got 2 more videos here. I'm going to ask your guys' opinion. We got a few of us watching here tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Please hit that like button. I've got 2 videos for y'all to choose from. One of them will be spicier than the other. When I say spicy, it's not in the way that Chris likes his Indian food or really any food. It's not that kind of spicy. I'll show you here. We have, be easier for me to just tell you. We have a video about rating the most unpopular art advice from Reddit from our friend Sam Does Art. We also have a video about the harsh reality about AI and artists from none other than Young Ripa 59, the creator of the Ripaverse. Where are my polls? No idea what that. There must be a delay or something, because I don't know what that's in reference to. So we have the AI video we could talk about, or we can talk about unpopular art advice. In the meantime, I'm kind of done drinking this. I got a Soda Stream. It saves a lot of money on soda, but it's going kind of flat. For the second hour of the stream, I'm switching to Cowboy Coffee. Cowboy Coffee. I couldn't help but notice when I was buying it that it has none other than the woolly mammoth on the front. Very topical. I don't like the phrasing of things tonight. I don't like the phrasing. But we're going to crack open some Cowboy Coffee. It has 20 IBUs. I don't know how many IBUs I prefer, but that feels like a acceptable amount. All right. Since you guys aren't chiming in on what you want to watch, we're going to go with the unpopular art advice, just because the AI thing, I'm tired of talking about AI. Tired of talking about it. And now I get it. All right. Anyway, play that video. Now that we got that out of the way. Unpopular art advice. Let's talk about it. There's our dear friend, Sam. He did the Mist That Must Die. Let's see what he has to say here. Be your own worst critic. This might be a controversial tip.
Critic. This might be controversial since most people would tell you not to be too hard on yourself to keep you motivated. Personally, I am guilty of doing that. However, I feel like that would make people blind to their own flaws to protect their own fragile motivation. Jeez. Am I so condescending? This first one's going to get a solid 9 out of 10 from me because that's exactly how I feel about my work. But the second one, oh boy, where do I start? This phrase, be your own worst critic,
40-second delay. Good to know. All right. So as far as being your own worst critic, I think there's some validity to that. I think we're always going to be hard on ourselves, but I've also seen what some people come up to me at shows and I think in their mind, they think that they're amazing. They think that they're ready to do comics or what have you, and they're missing fundamentals. I don't think you can be your own critic until you know what to be critical of. But for the sake of argument, yeah, be your own worst critic. Develop a second personality that is way worse than your own. So it's that way, even if you're terrible, you have a side of you that's even worse. And that side of you should be ultra critical, not just of your art, but of everything that you do. I think it's the healthiest way to live. I think it'll get you far in life. And if you can appease that side of you that is constantly tearing yourself down, you're only going to get ahead. I think that's really the only way to do this. This whole art thing is multiple personalities.
needs a lot of elaboration. It doesn't mean that you should look at every single piece you produce, just tear it down.
You shouldn't look at any pieces that you produce after you've drawn them. You should really just sell them. If you're busy looking at them, you're not selling. And really, ultimately, what we're here to do is sell artwork. If we're sitting on it, if we're lugging it around, if we're looking at it, we're not making money. So critique the hell out of it. Make it the best that it can be. So it's either going one of two places. Either going in a trash can or it's going on someone's fridge. And you're getting money. Getting that money. Good. Got that out of the way.
Verbally abuse yourself a little bit along the way. Because
next,
to your
holy smokes, who has time to write all this? This is the problem today. You know, earlier I'm like, you know, if you're going to be working as the drug dog guy, sitting around sniffing sniffing luggage and such. The way I was going to phrase that wasn't the greatest. Um, these people are just sitting around at home, just typing out paragraphs. You don't have a style when you're new at art. Style is just a comfort zone and becomes a major hindrance to your. I don't think I can make this paragraph exciting if I tried. This is bad advice. Whatever this person is saying, don't do it. You don't have a style when you're new at art. You don't ever have a style. All you have is a culmination of what everyone else has already done. That's how we do art these days. It's almost like, if you cross your eyes, you can blur two images together. Well, make one sheet, blank sheet of paper, and the other sheet, the image that you want to copy. Cross your eyes, and then draw the image on your sheet of paper. There's your style. Then you can critique it. Either it goes in the trash or it goes on someone's fridge. Done. Next.
Learning and your artistic growth. Artists that are just getting into their...
You're spending so much time talking about it too. This is why I could never really YouTube. Sam's doing great here, by the way. He spent at least 30 seconds talking about that paragraph. He actually read it, gave insight. I think the more time goes on, I'm learning that I'm a terrible person. And that's not me speaking. That's my critic speaking. That is the critical side of me that tears down everything that I do. I am a terrible person. I don't take time to read things. And moving on. Focusing on a messy style can allow you to practice composition faster and hide some of your flaws. But in the long term, you're just avoiding learning the difficult things that... Who are these people? If you only do messy, do pristine. If you only do messy, do pristine. If you only do pristine, do messy. Both of you will learn. See, he's already talking about multiple personalities. If you only do messy, do pristine. If you only do pristine, do messy. Both of you will learn something. That's the multiple personalities I'm talking about. This guy knows something. Neon Fraction, 10 out of 10. If we're rating these, I guess that's what we're doing here is we're rating Unpopular Art Advice. This is 10 out of 10. See, he even has a condescending. This is his critic side coming out. This is very critical. He's got the different capitalizations, but it's my style. Is it, or is it a comfort crutch you don't want to let go of? Just because you preferred style as one thing does not mean you should never experiment with other styles. Boom. I like this guy. He's on it. He's critical. He's critical of other people too. So there's this new thing lately that if you're an artist, that you cannot critique other artists because it's unprofessional. I'm going to tell you about a little website I used to post on all the time back in the day called DeviantArt, where if you posted anything, it was up for critique. I think they added a button later that says, I don't want critiques because people are soft. Because people can't handle the criticism. But that's how we get better as artists. And if you've already got someone that's way more critical living on your left brain, if someone tries to critique your artwork, you just critique them. That's how it works. That's how it works. Chris chimes in. Chris, I appreciate you chiming in here. I'm thinking way too hard. I need to see what you guys have to say. Everything I am and do is messy. It works for me. Just have to develop a few more personalities. I think you're well on your way, man. You already got the messy side. Just work on the pristine side. Whatever that means. I don't know how that applies to what you're currently doing. But this guy has great advice. You should listen to him. Develop multiple personalities and you'll be good to go.
Things that would actually improve your art. If you own style, it's not something.
I'd say animation's I'm going to just let him read it.
And on this, just brace yourself. My unpopular opinion is only amateur artists worry about style. It's not something to worry about at all. Your personal aesthetic sensitivities and individual anatomy will give you your style. It's not something to chase. People put too much stock in this and lose focus on practicing foundations. It's silly. Style.
It's hilarious even. It's hilarious. I don't know. What does he say on this one?
Style is something you have to build. Finding it is only 10.
What are these conversations people are having? It wasn't there something that's like 90% of statistics are made up on the spot or something like that. Here we are finding it's only 10% of the work. Style is something you have to build. This guy doesn't have an inner critic. And if he does, it's bland. He needs to work on that. Hectahedron, work on it. This guy, I can't even make sense of this. It's pretty much just saying your style is an excuse to not actually learn anything. That's dumb. Super dumb. It's all dumb. Both of these get a 1 out of 10. He's going to launch into talking about this painting again. We've seen this painting multiple times. He did a good job on it, I guess. So that's good. Let's get back in the Reddit stuff. Holy hell.
Little Bo Peep used the smart bind.
So I haven't paid for YouTube Premium yet. So you get to see this commercial. I muted it for you. That's like something you find it's like something you find in a shitty fortune cookie. Dude, all right. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. So I was saying that I was eating at Panda Express all weekend, right? And there was I do, for whatever reason, put a lot of stock in the fortune cookie. Whatever comes out on that little sheet of paper, I'm like, it means something to me. And I have a ritual. I get done eating. I will crack open my fortune cookie. I will have both halves of said fortune cookie in the mouth before I'm allowed to look at what's written on the other side of the fortune. Lo and behold, the last night that I was eating Panda Express, I had 2 fortune cookies in my bag. I'm like, what good fortune has been bestowed upon me? This is amazing. I crack that thing open. I do my ritual, right? I pull out my fortune, and it says something about like, your best quality is how you handle difficult challenges. I'm like, that's some BS, man. I needed something good, and you're like, you're gonna get a lot of crap thrown at you, but you're gonna handle it. Like, I don't need that in my life. I'm already handling it. I'm already doing it. So I'm thinking this second cookie, though, that's where the real fortune's gonna be. I'm gonna get through this challenge of this really dumb, shitty fortune that I just got. This second cookie, that's where the gem's gonna be. So I go through the ritual and I crack the thing open. And as soon as I cracked that sucker, I knew something was wrong. Something was amiss. You know what happened? I cracked it and there was no tug of paper. There was no telltale sign of fortune. No, there was nothing inside of it. And at that point, I felt like that's my lot in life. I get thrown difficult challenges all the time. And one of my best qualities is that I can deal with these difficult challenges. And what do I get for it? Literally nothing but a cookie. There's no fortune, just cookie. And that's when it dawned on me, is that maybe I need to be happy with what I've got. Also, maybe I got ripped off. Maybe the system's against me. Maybe the fact that quality control was apparently sleeping that day screwed me over. Maybe I'm here to fix the system. Maybe I'm here to hit that reset button to fix it all. I don't know. I'm going to get caught up with chat here first. Do you want me to add my YouTube Premium? Isn't that like a felony now? Like Netflix, if you do the family plan and you're not actually in someone's family, isn't that like a crime? I just need to buckle down and pay for it. Yeah, dude, the cookies, man. That's where it's at. No, that's worse. That's a slow acting death curse. I feel like it. I've been slowly dying all week. I wouldn't tell me you like like, you son of a bitch. These fortune cookies, man. I don't know what to tell you. I've had some really insightful ones at different points pop up. There was actually one that was pretty spot on earlier. Every now and then, when I end up with extra passes, I'll give them to people. So I was having dinner at one of the tap houses right there in DC. like downtown by the convention center. I'm just kind of BSing with the bartender, and asked her if they were getting ready for Comic-Con. People to be coming in. They're like, "Oh, is that this weekend? Oh, that's crazy." And they're like, "Oh, we want to go." And I'm like, "Hey, by the way, I've got a couple extra passes." And I got a really big hug, and it felt good. I was not looking for a hug. I was just looking to hook some people up. And my fortune cookie that night, you know what it said? You know what it said? It said something to the effect of like, today you'll find out how powerful a hug can be. And it felt good. I'm like, you know what? You know what? You can't tell me that these fortune cookies don't have something to them. Because it knew. It knew. Anyways. If you guys have any bad advice you want to put in the chat for artists, let's talk about it, because these are way too lengthy. I didn't preview this video. These are in the theater world, these would be called soliloquies. Here we go. Here's a short one. All right, Jiggly Ninja. I like it already. Let's let him read it. Oh, muted.
Your results to actually improve in a meaningful way. Some of these you have to learn X before you learn Y. Examples are pretty much unavoidable. That's a 2 out of 10. And I feel like some of these points here are actually very relevant to what we just talked about. Anime art is just realism with an anime face slapped on. People don't understand that their favorite mangaka has thousands of hours doing realistic studies and
I learned a new word today. I don't know what it means. But yeah, bad advice. Put some bad advice in the chat, man. Or just ill-advised advice. A mangaka. Are you guys familiar with mangaka? I'm just now hearing it for the first time. Anime art is just realism with an anime face slapped on. People don't understand that their favorite mangaka has thousands of hours. Yeah, like you gotta learn the fundamentals and basics, but ultimately when it boils down, you just have like the big eyes and very pointy chins. Very, very pointy chins. I don't know. There's a whole lot to anime. I feel like the good thing about anime for kids is that they like drawing it because they think it's easy. They think it's easier than drawing a real face. So they start off drawing an anime face. Like, I'm going to draw Goku. I'm going to draw these big spikes for hair. That's fun. That's exciting. And the bigger and spikier that hair gets, by golly, they feel like they are drawing the heck out of that picture. And then next thing you know, they're actually having a good time. And they're like, wow, there's something to this drawing thing. They're getting compliments from their friends. Their parents think that their son is the next Picasso. And next thing you know, the kid's like actually learning something. So on that level, yes, anime, there you go. But the second part of this comment is that it's realism with anime face slapped on it. Yes and no. I mean, I've seen Goku's biceps and arms. Doesn't exactly follow real anatomy, but that's where the style part comes in. So I think the best advice here is to go back to the basics. We talked about the Flintstones earlier. You will see more Fred Flintstones in the world today than you will Goku's. Trust me, I know. If I didn't have a beard and I did have a little tuft of black hair up here, I'm closer to Fred Flintstone than I am Goku. That's realism. Chris says, bad advice, always make sure to sit at the table with your head down on your phone, ignoring all customers. It builds an air of mystery. Well, it's confidence too, right? Like I don't need to talk to you for you to understand what's happening here. I'm just waiting for you to get through whatever emotional process you have to go through, where you hand me money and I give you a picture, print. I think that's sound advice. I think more people need to do that. I saw a few people doing that at AwesomeCon, and I'm confident they had a great weekend. I think that's probably the best thing you can do. Do everything digitally when you draw. Bad advice. Do everything digitally when you draw. To each their own. Um, if I was going to be drawing on an iPad and I wasn't using a digital device to draw on it, and I was just using like a Sharpie or a brush on my iPad, it would not go over well. So do it digitally. I like it. That's a bad joke. It's a bad joke. Wasn't a good joke. Didn't say I was a comedian. I do make myself laugh. 10 out. Oh, I thought that said 10 out of 10 advice. Stop drawing anime characters. Hey, you guys want to start an anime? I feel like we have plenty of lore material based around this channel already. If I was going to start an anime, it would have to have the epic anime music at the beginning. And you can guarantee that whoever the main character is will be able to summon a horde of passenger pigeons. Just like a flock of them. They pick them up to carry them around to fly. They can form into like a big fist full of pigeons to like smack stuff. I think we need to start our own anatomy. Not only would I use AI for anatomy, I would also just go ahead and trace the picture. I think that's probably the easiest way to like get a picture done and see that you drew it. There's actually a lot of artists that trace stuff. That's like a real thing. A lot of portrait artists, they'll blow up a picture and trace it. Different methods of blowing things up. I've heard there's even some artists. Here's a whole insider secret. There are some artists that are using UV. I don't know if it's like a UV pen, ultraviolet, as it were. So they'll sketch out the drawing with UV paint and then paint over it with regular paint. And when they need to see the reference, they just click on a UV light. That way, there's no underdrawing that can be seen or anything like that. It's very sneaky. But yeah, there's a lot of tracers out there. So just trace your AI stuff. Trace all the fingers. Make sure you get every single one of them. And you'll be good to go. Because if AI says you should have a dozen fingers, you should.
You sound like an elementary school art teacher who hates their job. Stop it. Learn to like making art before you learn how to be good at art. I see so many people say stuff like, I hate my art, or I'm unhappy.
Learn to like making art before you learn how to be good at art. Learn to like. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that if you don't like it right off the rip, why would you want to keep doing it anyways? If just to clarify, James, I'm taking all bad advice as good advice this evening. That's the gimmick. Learn to like making art before you learn how to be good at art. You know, if I didn't like eating food, and I didn't like adding the things that I like to eat to the food in the cooking process, I probably wouldn't bother cooking. I don't know, man. It's a weird one. If you don't like drawing, if you don't like art, I think the big thing is, and this is, I'm being for real for a second here. I think some people try to draw because they think they're supposed to draw like that to be an artist. That's like your entry. It's just draw stuff. Sometimes you need to put down the pencil and try like, I don't know, paintbrush or clay, something completely different. Because a lot of people get frustrated with the tool that they're using, and there's a chance they're just using the wrong tool. By golly, these are long-winded. Drawing advice that I live by. Here we go. Little Bigo, you already win for the day. This might be the shortest one. Drawing advice that I live by. It's about learning how to see, not how to draw. It's about learning how to see, not how to draw. Friends, if you've been drawing poorly your whole life, it's not because you're bad at drawing. It's because you're bad at seeing. And I think this is 100% true for some people. Some people really, really suck at seeing things. What's up, Michael? Well, we were just getting started, buddy. We were just getting fired up here. If you have any bad art advice you'd like to leave in the chat, I'm expounding upon it. And if anyone would like the link, just let me know. I can send the link if you guys want to join. I quit doing the email blast just because I feel like I'm really just annoying people when I do that. Yeah, I think some people do need to learn how to see, because this is the hardest one. This is the hardest one. You're at a convention. Things are going great. Sales are great. You had a great dinner with your friends the night before. You had a decent breakfast that morning. Coffee's still hot in the mug. Life is good. And it's always a woman with her child. And the woman will tell you how great of an artist that their child is. You're like, that's amazing. You look like you're, junior high? That's great. You love art. What do you like to draw? Oh, you like to draw anime characters? That's great. It's a great way to get into drawing. Do you have any pictures of your stuff? They're already pulling up their phone to show you. And they pull it out. And seldom am I impressed. And this makes me a terrible person. Again, I'm my own worst critic. I'm a terrible person. Because they then proceed to tell me that they just drew it on their phone. They used their finger to draw. And it certainly looks like finger paint. And at this point, I'm trying to gauge if this is a serious conversation. Like if they think that they're entering, and sometimes they are trying to enter the arena of Artist Alley. And far be it from me to stop anyone from throwing in their hat into the arena. And I'll usually give some like, hey, if you love doing it, keep up at it. Try getting a bigger piece of paper to work on so you can really flex. You can really try some stuff out. And they tell me, no, I just like using the phone. I said, okay, so what do you want to do with this? I want to make my own books. Okay, you should make your own books. That is the challenge, is that someone needs to be able to see where they're at and where they need to go. There's an old parable, biblical even, a proverb, I will say, is that a son is to his father like arrows to a bow, and it is to the father to see where that arrow should go. I totally butchered that. I did make it rhyme, which I think redeems me a little bit. But back in the day, they had different arrowheads, right? They still do now, but like they had very particular arrowheads they would use for hunting or for warfare, for target practice, all those things. And the idea was that a man was to look at his son and say, this is the direction I think you're going. I'm going to help you get there. And if you cannot see clearly what your kids are capable of, nor guide them in the direction that they need to go, then you're going to have hard times. You're going to have real hard times. Now, granted, if it's just a thing of passion and you want to make finger art books, by all means, make the book. Make the book. I don't know how well it will perform at the convention. And you did not come to me in this conversation to say like, hey, could you give me a real down to earth, like hard yes or no, am I on the right track? Like no one's asking for a real critique. They just want to show off their kids' art. And I'm happy that the kid's excited. And I'm happy that they have goals and things that they want to do. A challenge that I have in that moment, it was when I say, have you thought about using even an iPad, just something a little bit bigger with a tool? You know, like, no, this has happened multiple times in different states too, by the way. I just want to use my finger on the phone. And I say, why do you want to do that? And they say, because that's what I'm most comfortable with. that's when I say maybe you do need to learn how to see. Maybe you need to see that like this is a good thing for like you to do on your own time. And maybe this is not what you're seeing when you go to like the comic shop. That's not how these guys are working. Like name your favorite artist: J. Scott Campbell, Jay Lee, Jim Lee, David Finch. I don't think I'm breaking this news, but they're not drawing on their phone with their finger to achieve that artwork. It's just not the tool of the trade. Maybe it's possible that David Finch one day, early on in his career, he thought, if only I had a cell phone to draw on with my finger, I would be better at art. But what I can see right now with my eyes, with thine own eyes, is that I need to improve my anatomy on this page. It's possible. It's possible that we just need to get better at seeing. But I could see at that time that this was someone that was passionate about drawing, and they wanted to do it their way. And I'm all right with that. At the same time, if you do want to get better, if you can't see for yourself, you must tug on the sleeve of someone who can see. And that person is like a fortune cookie. They're going to tell you something, and it's up to you what you do with that information. You can either take it, consume it mentally, and do something with it. Or you can say, you know what? I'm kind of happy just drawing on my phone with my finger. And that's totally fine too. Who am I to judge? We are spinning on a rock thousands of miles an hour through space. We only have so much time before we are devoured by a horde of dire wolves swooping out of the sky. Michael, you missed a lot earlier, buddy. There's a lot of stuff that you missed with dire wolves. But who am I to judge? Draw what you want, see what you want. Perception is reality. Maybe we all need to get a little better at seeing. Maybe we could all spend a little bit more time, not just looking with our eyes outward, but with our eyes inward. My thoughts exactly. Campbell draws small enough to draw on the phone. He does. He does draw small enough. I actually own a couple of his what do you call them, the preliminary sketches, and they're little guys. They're super tiny, very small. Seen some dudes in their 30s that could barely draw stick figures with their books that they made. You know, it's everybody's on their own journey, right? And one of the best examples I've got, I'm getting a little bit more serious now. I started off joking, and I realized that this is not as jokey of a matter as I should be approaching it. There was a gentleman at a show last year that had flown from Italy for a review of his portfolio with Marvel. And I said, that's amazing. You know, he spoke fairly well with his English, and I could see he had his portfolio, and I could tell he was eager to share it. So we took a look at his portfolio, and I could tell very quickly he had a passion for drawing. Unfortunately, did not have extensive background with a lot of the basics, construction drawing, anatomy, perspective, but every page was full of details. Mind you, this guy's probably my age, if not older. I was talking to somebody close to the source with the Marvel editor that was there. And this gentleman, he was actually, his interview for his portfolio was delayed because the Marvel editor was spending extra time with this person because he knew that this guy had flown from Italy specifically to get his portfolio reviewed, and he could see the passion that the guy had, and the guy wanted an honest critique. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that he wanted another set of eyes that could see, right? He wanted someone to tell him where he was coming up short and give them honest review. And oftentimes, the folks that are coming to us at our booths, they do not want an honest review. They just want some affirmation that there's passion there. And I am happy to pat those people on the back because I'm glad that they are at least doing something with their passion and not just staring at their phone, scrolling through social media. Glad they're doing something more productive, right? But I think for anyone who wants to get better, they have to take that scary step of saying, did my eyes deceive me? I think you do have to get better at seeing. And the only way they can get better at seeing is seeing things from other people's perspective. I think there's a lot to learn there. See from someone else's perspective. Speaking of dire wolves in flight, they will provide transportation for my daughter in the post-apocalyptic world. Our big concern, Michael, is that they are going to cross the passenger pigeon genes with the dire wolf genes, and we will have billions of flightful wolves out there. I tend to be lighthearted, but then I started to realize that, like, if someone clips this and it spreads around the convention scene that Steve laughs at people, I'm like, I need to have a redeeming moment. I'll have one redeeming moment. Yeah, they rarely ever do ask, though, right? Yeah, some glasses would help. And I'm not a perfect pro, but I want to help. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Is that here's one of the things that's kind of going on. I made the mistake of being more actively reading stuff on Twitter, which is terrible. Twitter is like, hey, I'm just gonna run into the gas station real quick. You want anything? Hot dog, like a cola, something. And you go into the gas station, and it turns out it's a mosh pit. Like, you're still gonna go get your cola, you're still gonna do your best to get a hot dog, but the entire time you will be getting elbowed in the face. But there's this thing that's happening now where people, it's being considered unprofessional to critique other people. I find that interesting. Because like I said, DeviantArt back in the day, like, if you posted something, it was a given. People were going to critique you. And like it or not, like, you were going to get those comments. And it was up to you to do what you wanted with it. And by and large, most of the critiques that would come in, even on stuff that was, like, I look back at some of my stuff that was kind of shoddy. And people were like, hey, it was great. This is amazing. This is the best ever. I look back at it now, I'm like, I didn't know what I was doing. That anatomy is way off. But then every now and then you get one where it's like, hey, the forearm muscles don't actually look like that. And even though you're doing like a mythical monster, it should mimic real life anatomy. And I was like, these guys don't know what you're talking about. It's a dragon. I can make up the anatomy. Yeah, well, I was dumb. But I was refusing to see through another perspective. But yes, the dire wolves definitely need flight mode and 4 billion of them. It's not my place to give critiques when they're not welcomed. Yeah, and that's the thing now is at a convention, I wouldn't just walk up and start critiquing somebody. At the same time, if I post anything like a comic book or a page or something, I do so under the full well knowing that someone could easily critique me right there on the spot on my post, or they could make a 2-hour long format video, much like I'm doing. I'm not critiquing our dear friend Sam here. Sam does art, 1.72 million subscribers. I think is doing a great job here. He is doing all these comments way more justice than I ever will. But in regards to, like, if someone really critiqued one of my pictures on Instagram, be like, cool, thanks for the feedback, dude. There you go. I think the challenge that you're running into with critiquing is, in particular, there's this thing that is happening where someone will spend paragraphs critiquing something, or do a YouTube video where they're ripping something apart for 10 minutes. And then at the end, they're like, here's what I would have done, or here's what I did in my comic book, or here's what I do in my art. And they turn it into an ad for their own stuff. Like, if you're going to critique stuff, it just needs to be a critique and not an advertisement. But I gave you positive marks. I didn't give you a grade. I did say that I really liked your shading and your cross hatching. If you'd like me to openly critique your stuff, I don't really want to, but I could. It's not that I don't want to. I really don't want this to turn into an art critique show. Mainly because I don't want my stuff critiqued left and right. That is the hardest part for some of these folks that are getting into the comic space and the convention space, is that some of them were YouTube critics that were very critical about a lot of things, and then that now they're making their own comic books and their own content, and they don't like getting critiqued. That's a thing. We might talk about more of that later. I don't know if I want to become that kind of channel though. So let me live in my delusional state. That is my preferred state. Delusional, aloof, barely conscious, all the above. So maybe we'll do one more too bad piece of advice now that I've gone on my long-winded talking to people at shows. But hey, I have some buddies that do like to draw and sketch from time to time. They just do it when they're watching TV at home, and probably no one will ever see their sketchbooks until someone has to clean out their house when they're dead. And then we'll look at it and we'll critique the hell out of it on here. How's that sound? Moving right along. Next piece of advice. Not everything you create needs. Let me just let this guy read it for a second here.
Unpopular advice that I think I needed to hear as well. Not everything you create needs to be posted on social media. This is something that I have to remind myself very often too, is that when I make art, I do it for myself. Maybe it's to capture a feeling that I felt, or it could just be therapeutic for me to sit down and paint, water. But at the end of the day,
He just painted water. It's like when a girl's like, that's all he painted in this picture was water. And the girl's like, hey, check out my new hairdo. Well, she's in a bikini. Am I allowed to say that? Is that judgy? Is that judgy? I think it's funny. I just like that. I was expecting to see just a picture of water, and we got this. Yeah. Anyways. Lol, I'm going to put up a sign that says, if you want to show me your work, I'm going to critique it. Just do what's her name and Charlie Brown did, and have the little coffee can on your table that says like art critique, and put like a nickel on there. For 5 cents, I'll critique your artwork. There you go. I feel like yeah, there's plenty of stuff I don't post online. I was at one point going to show this is only some of the stuff that will never see the light of day, just because I felt like it wasn't good enough. It wasn't quite high quality enough. All kinds of random sketches that just, I don't know. Like at the time I thought it made sense, but I didn't quite like the pose. I was working on a Wolverine, and I was just like, head's too small and pose is too weird, and yeah, didn't like it. So I don't know. I got a bunch of them. Here's another one. This is a really terrible Batman. Really terrible. Now his head's too big. Standing on the gargoyle. Gargoyle's angry gargoyle. If I were to do it again, he would be standing on a flying dire wolf. So I don't know. I think some stuff that we don't think the world needs to see, sometimes they do need to see it. just so they can understand that we're not perfect and we aren't like AI where you can just hit a prompt and it spits out glory every time. Now, granted, I do spit out glory on a regular basis. I am probably the best artist to ever live. And I never mess up. I'm losing viewers on that. That's great. I'm being facetious. Obviously, we all got to get better. And I think people need to see that. Let's see. For 5 cents, I'll give you my 2. That's a net of 3 cents. Then you pay taxes on that and you walk away with 2 cents. Possibly 1 cent after your 401k deposit and all that stuff. No. But let's see. Yeah, I was doing the math on one show recently, and I'm like, by the time I actually take this home, how much money did I make on this weekend? Ugh. Oy. So I guess the advice here, friends, is don't do Comic Cons. Don't do conventions. Don't make artwork. If you do, post everything online. If you're going to post online, critique everything. Mostly yourself, the worst. That way, when people get upset that you're critiquing them, be like, listen, I'm harder on myself than anybody else. Then they can fully appreciate that you didn't have the full wrath come down on them. That would be extra. I would charge double for that. I have a preposterous amount of change that I need to do something with. I have to stop putting emphasis on how my work does based on how well I do at shows. Conventions are really weird right now too, dude. I feel like that success curve of like really well, I'm doing it backwards. People doing extremely well to like breaking even. There's more disparity there than ever. I don't know. Chris, you might be able to chime in on it from your experience, what you've been seeing, but I've been running into a lot of people lately that are saying they're not doing certain shows again, that they used to be and these are very successful full-time artists that aren't doing them anymore because juice ain't worth the squeeze, that sort of thing. I really do think this is the year of attrition. Do conventions after you win the lottery jackpot. I've often thought that, like, if I won the like $300 million take home, I'd be like, I probably still do conventions. I would just do them very differently. Yeah, I really do think this is the year of attrition. And that being said, I've also talked to a handful of artists that have had some of the best shows they've done yet this year. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm not trying to be that guy. And Chris just said that he had his personal best at South Carolina. I've had my personal best at a handful of shows this year. And a lot of it is because I am upgrading as much as I can, not just the display, but also product that I'm selling. And it's helping me stand out. Yeah, it's I've only had 2 shows where it was like down from last year. That's it. I've had more people come up to me this year asking, where'd you get your uprights? Pipeanddrape.com. And where'd you get your tablecloths? And it's Table Covers Now or Table Cover Snow, depending on how you read it. And it's, like I said, not trying to like brag or anything, because it's, the amount that I had to invest time and money. Allow me to pontificate on that for a moment. Just on display stuff, I need my paintbrush. I was using this last week to really illustrate my points. So, backdrop alone with the lights, tablecloth, and the rebranding for business cards, I probably spent around $2,000. Now, granted, I'm also doing 30 shows a year. On top of that, doing the canvases that I'm putting together myself, which really helps my profit margin. This has been the most successful I think I've been the whole time that I've been doing this. And the whole reason being, like, the amount that I would have to charge for canvases if I were to order them online right now versus doing them myself, I'm taking home a lot more money than I would previously. So, I think this year, this is the year of attrition, and you got to do something to peacock like a mofo. And I used to myself complain that no one would buy my freaking originals, and I really was pushing those at DC, and the fact that I sold a few of them there, I think I've got a good formula now. So I think the big spenders, the people with deep pockets, I think they're comfort purchasing this year, buying original art if they see it at a good deal and it's reasonable and all that good stuff. I think you're going to get more people buying original art. I really feel that way. I didn't have a fortune cookie tell me that, so I can't really validate it, but that's my gut feeling. Chris says, I really think a lot of it is presenting yourself as a premium product, engaging with everyone. Absolutely. And thank you. It no, I mean, you know the grind too, dude. Like, when you're not doing shows, you're putting together leather bindings for your books. Like, you know the drill. There's only so much that you can just hit print and take to a show or order from whatever print shop. Unless I was to order like through Alibaba, which even now, who knows I don't know what the tariffs are going to do. China. The amount I would have to order of canvases is preposterous. I don't have a place to put them. So I have to pretty much make them as I go, which means I have a part-time job of putting together canvases. So James says, yeah, I need that sales training. To be honest, I say hi and try to chat with people to do my best. I think raising prices is part of it. The amount that some people are charging for one print now, I saw multiple people over the last couple shows that were charging $50 or $60 for a print. And this was not a fine Jacqueline paper. This was just a print. Which I'm not quite at that point yet, but the person across from me at one of these shows recently, my sales structure is to get $60 per transaction. So one print for 30, buy two, get one. It's like buy two, get two free. So it's 4 prints for $60. Their price schedule was 5 prints for $100, and they were routinely getting people to buy 5 prints for $100. So I'm like, if I do that, Chris says, I'm outside with a blowtorch right now, making some specials for this weekend. Hell yes. I printed ash cans of my comic by hand and was so excited. I've sold one so far. That's usually how I feel like it goes for me. I'm so excited to try a new thing, and then like I've had some prints that I put out and I'm excited, and then like no one even comments on them. It's like, cool. Glad I took time to do that. Chris says, what? My original 11 by 17s are going to 90 a piece, give or take. Oh, originals. I was thinking you were saying prints. I was like, yeah, $90 prints. I like it. I was pretty torn up about it. Tried giving my spiel. I don't know, man. I feel like depending on where you're at in the building determines what you can get away with. Either way, I feel like saying, hey guys, what's up? Or hey, how's it going? Feels like it's a pretty dead-end conversation. I have this theory. I think I talked with you, Chris, about this, is I feel like people can hear our tone almost like a song. Like the way that we talk to them, they can pick up on the tone of whether we want to keep talking to them, if we're interested in what they're doing, or if we're like, just like, hey, how's it going? Okay, bye. Which, to be fair, that's how I am sometimes, a lot of times. I I was getting burnt out this last show where I'm just like, I just want to be done. If you want to come buy stuff, you can come buy stuff. I think I was wearing it so much that I would get more people at my booth when I would sit down and draw and pretend like I wasn't interested. Than I was standing up trying to talk to people. So these last two shows, I got a lot of drawing done. And it still worked out all right. So it is a fickle thing. Let's see. Placement is everything. Yeah, I feel like I call it the 70-yard line. That's when people have made their way well into the show. They made it past the 50. They kind of see what they've come to see. And if they see anything at that point, they're more likely to buy on the spot. When you're that far into the show, hey, how's it going? It's like the last thing I want to say to somebody. Sometimes it's just like, hey, you guys find some cool stuff out there? Hey, you guys get any autographs today? Oh, really? Who you getting? Oh, what'd you pick up already? Especially if I see folks that have bought art from buddies of mine, like, oh, what'd you get from Chris? What'd you get from Terry? What'd you get from, get a conversation going that way. Works out pretty good. But yeah, at the front of the show, you can say good morning. How you doing today? You guys on a mission today? What are you looking for? But yeah, if you say, hey, what's up? How you doing? And you're in the back half of the show, those people have been asked how they're doing like 50 times already. I did have somebody at a show recently. They responded in a very monotone, like, oh, we're fine. Like, let me guess. You've been asked like 30 times today how you're doing. And the guy laughed. He's like, no. He's like, literally no one has asked us how we're doing. So, well, I'm Steve and I actually care about it. And I just, launched it. This is BS. That's a joke. But I'm trying my first tattoo show this weekend. What says it's on? We shall see. It's only 2 hours and $500. It's only 2 hours. Oh, like to drive? 500 bucks for a 10 by 20. Can't go wrong. I think he was telling me about that one too. Is that the Fayetteville or whatever? Yeah. I don't know. It sounded like he did pretty good there. I mean, I only did it once, but I did like that indie. Yep. There you go. I did the Indie Tattoo Con several years ago, and it was pretty solid. It's not affiliated with Villain. There's a lot of good shows out there. It's just a matter of seeing if it works for you. I think you'll do just fine, though, based on what Wes was telling me. A lot of Alcoholics Anonymous people don't even do the minimum of saying hello. Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to. At the beginning of the circle, you're supposed to say, hi, my name's Steve. I'm an alcoholic. And yeah, if you can't even say hello, that's another bad joke. If you need a documented history of how I get canceled from life, it's going to be this YouTube channel. I don't talk to some people in Alcoholics Anonymous because I can tell they seem annoyed when you walk by. So you're right. I had a buddy that told me this once, and it makes a lot of sense. He's been doing this for like Comic Cons anyways for like 10 years now. And he said Artist Alley tends to reek of desperation. That's where everyone kind of comes in and cuts their teeth. And they really, I mean, there's some, it might be their first show ever. And they just, if they can just break even, right? The other bit is like, they have it in their head what they're going to look like, what their sales are going to look like. And when things don't start panning out in reality as they saw it in their head, they start to panic and they start to talk more. And they start to try to like call people over to their table and stuff, and it gets ugly. For the 12 hour, all 3 days is 11 to 11. That's rough. I know part of it's for the tattoo artists to have flexibility to do what they got to do. They probably don't care if you duck out early. Then again, I mean, depending on the show, you might have those folks that, they had a really good day of tattooing and they want to buy stuff. You just got to feel it out. if it's going to happen, it's going to be Saturday night. Friday night, everyone's still trying to make money for the weekend. Saturday, people are feeling more comfortable where they're at. Like, you already know this. You already know this. I've had some artists I want to talk to, and they don't even engage or look up from what they're doing. I've been that guy a couple times. It really depends. I don't know. There's certain shows where I've gotten so far into the weekend, and the numbers are what they are, and I know just because your fishing hasn't gone well so far that you shouldn't give up. There's a certain point where I'm like, I have dignity. And if you're going to just walk by me when I try to say hello to you and you're not even going to acknowledge me after so much of that, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to draw stuff. And there's been a couple times where people come to the table and they're looking at prints, and I'm like, I'm just going to pretend I can't see them. And if they want me, they know where to find me. I'm literally sitting right here drawing something. I don't do that all the time. I have to be like really in a certain kind of way, a certain kind of mode to get to that point. But yeah. That's my favorite is there's a certain point in the weekend where I just switch my pitch to like, hey, I'm Steve, I'm the artist, I have stuff. Let me know if you're interested. And people get a laugh out of it. I hope you all are having better dinners than me, forcing myself into eating healthy this eve. I just had my last round of pizza, and I'm going carnivore. I made the trip to the local butcher. I picked up a ton of steak. Especially this last month and a half on the road, I've been eating like garbage. I've got 3 weeks no travel. No reason why I can't eat super clean for a while. Last time I did carnivore, it felt really good. But sure enough, May is going to be super busy, and I'm probably going to fall right off the wagon. So, dude, I do gas station sandwiches at shows. Like, whatever happens to be on the way, that's what I get. I actually really enjoy carnivore. When I get in the routine of it. The first week or two always sucks. But the first time I did it, I went probably 2 or 3 months, like, die hard. Like, no cheating, nothing crazy, no beer. And worked out pretty good for me. There was a day I was walking into Home Depot, and I just felt good. I had no drugs in me, no alcohol, no nothing. I was just feeling good. I'm like, why do I feel good today? I'm just going to Home Depot to buy the lights because I had some lights burn out. I felt great. I feel like that month time frame, that's when I was really hitting on all cylinders, and like I wanted it to do the right thing. So even on the road, like I would instead of going out to eat, I would go to the grocery store and I would buy sometimes just like deli meat. I go back to the hotel to eat dinner, and I'm literally just sitting there with like a roll of deli meat, just wolfing it down. Oh, let's see. That's why I've been on the road for 9 weeks. Now I'm eating. Yeah. Yeah, you try to eat healthy on the road, and then you're having a couple beers with buddies, and it's like, hey, let's get appetizers, and let's get all kinds of stuff. And fries sounds better than broccoli. Here we are. So what I ended up doing after I did carnivore for a couple months was I switched to keto because I really was missing like pasta sauce in general. And as long as you're not eating super high carb or sugar added pasta sauce, it can be keto friendly. So what I was doing big pots of meatballs. Try to make sure they were low carb because sometimes they put all the extra breadcrumbs and stuff in there. But then adding in like a no added sugar pasta sauce, which I got a great local place, bunch of cheese, and it was heavenly. But I feel like keto is the sweet mistress that pulls you away from the diet. Because it's like, oh, well, this is keto friendly, and that's keto friendly, and this is keto friendly. And next thing you know, you're eating candy bars that say keto friendly on it. And then you look at it and it's like, well, if you eat half this candy bar, it's keto friendly. And you're like, well, I bought 2 of these and I'm going to eat both of them. And there goes the diet. There it goes. Just like that. Yeah, I like shows because I lose weight at shows because I can't afford to eat. Yep. Been there. Been there. It was early on, man. Especially when I first went full time, it was like I was afraid to eat good. I was eating super cheap everywhere I went, going to the grocery stores, all that good stuff, because I was like, I need to be as profitable as possible. Not to mention I didn't have time to go out to eat. So I was doing so many commissions. I would just go back to the hotel, eat whatever. I think I was mostly eating Hot Pockets at the time. Go to Walmart and get a big thing of Hot Pockets for like $10. Then go back to the hotel room and draw till midnight. Work on commissions, get those done. Wake up early, do commissions. And yeah, I do. Then I started switching to sandwiches once I got more confident. So my Walmart bill went from being like $15 to like $25. Once I got to $25, I'm like, I can start eating out once a weekend. We're making friends, we're networking, all this stuff. And then I don't know. It takes time. It takes time. But guys, I don't know where we're going with all this. I don't know where we're going. Sam does art and he does a great video and he painted a great picture of water here. I don't really care to. Let's see what the most popular. This is the most popular bad advice. Pinterest girl paintings are just boring AF, especially now there's so many accounts deliberately doing Sam does art Disney fight style. No hate to him. He's very skilled. He's very skilled, but the genre as a whole is just so annoying now. That's what we're going to end on, is that you should try to annoy Sam with your style. You should try to irritate him by copying his style and then getting a cute girl, possibly a cute AI girl, if you don't have a cute girl handy, to make it look like she's AI painting it. And then post that everywhere, monetize that, and you'll be good to go. Like, why wouldn't you? The amount of like AI stuff showing up on, like, I'm not even looking for it, and then there'll just be like random AI girl in my Instagram suggested. Like, hey, you would probably like this random AI girl standing between 2 palm trees. Like, she looks super fake. Super fake. They look real now, though. They're going to look really good. So I'm thinking about, guys, I'm thinking about starting up my own AI girl account and doing like an AI VTuber thing. Seems like a lot less work than what I'm currently doing. And you can automate all of it. So like people want to chat with her, you can just have an AI bot chat with them. So really, it's like being a digital pimp. I think that's pretty neat. What about a cute AI girl made by AI that messages her? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what we got to do. You have multiple accounts going. And at some point, you can have a bot that runs all of it. So really, you're not even the pimp. You have a digital pimp pimping out your AI girls to chat with dudes that are possibly also AI. Yes. Victory. There will be multiple polls. I don't know if they can actually dance on them yet. I don't know if that's allowed in the AI world. But yeah, I think that's what we need to do. Guys, we're trying way too hard. we're trying way too hard. And we're putting ourselves at great risk driving all over the country to sell our fine goods and wares to people that we spend our precious time on. Just think about this. Chris, you get home from a show, you're tired. You have a show in 3 days you have to leave for. 2 of those days is going to be restocking, shipping stuff, and everything else. You have one precious day to do anything. And oh, what's that? You forgot to change the oil in the car. So you know you're going to have to go get that changed because you don't have time to do it yourself, because you also have to go get groceries, because you also have to do this, that, and the other. So it's like, you know what? What if you just had a couple of AI girls do all the heavy lifting? And all you got to do is sit back, get that paycheck every month. You're good to go. I don't know how you know this, James. Yeah, right. Yeah, and here you are watching me ramble on for 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's interesting watching the viewer count go up and down, especially when I go on certain rambles on certain things. You can tell where I lose people. It's kind of funny. But I'm thinking this is gonna be the last thing I talk about, and I'm done. I'm out because I gotta take a week. I'm thinking StreamYard has an option to stream to multiple channels at once. So if I really wanted to, I could have this live broadcast not only to YouTube but also Facebook and Instagram. Now I don't know how many additional viewers that would net me. I don't know how much that would change things. But I do want to grow this so that when we do have things that we want to put on sale. So for instance, James, like your Kickstarter. Oh, we forgot to talk about that. Like we can send people over to these links so they can see what we're working on. Or Chris, if you had a discount that you wanted to run on something, we'd be like, hey guys, go check out what Chris has. Check this out. We've got James Kickstarter. He just did that interview the other day and almost at 1,400. Definitely a grand over goal already. 4 days to go. So, guys, if you haven't backed it yet, make sure you back James. It's a trading card art of Sketching the Beast over on Kickstarter. Well, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. I'm going to finish this beer. Cowboy coffee was actually good. I've got another one I didn't even dip into. Chris, have you had that one? It's Imperial Amber with Bullet. It's 11.9%, I believe. That's going to be after this. So, guys, thanks for hanging out. No pole dancing. We'll see you next time. Peace.